Can we get some ratchet one time? Look, I don't wanna talk. How you try and press the kid and read it, you was soft. All you know is capping, homie, you don't know the law. Pedal to the metal, you ain't catching me in park. I just hit the stop.
Well, there you go, folks. A little old school MCU for you guys to get us started off. You know, what better than to watch two women in thongs dancing, then some what we can't even describe as anything, but looks like a little person and another person on the shitter. So yeah, what better way to start this movie review off, guys? So welcome to the MCU's Bleeding Edge. We're live Friday night, March 15th, to discuss the 2006 film Deja Vu. Yeah, that's right, Deja Vu, people. All right, so for those that are participating in the drinking challenge, which you can participate if you're drinking water, juice, soda, whatever you like. Just every time you hear certain words, take a drink. And all you got to do is look for these beautiful words. Denzel Washington, Val Kilmer, time travel, Paula Patton are the key words tonight, folks. So anytime you hear those words, anybody mutters them, you got to take a drink. So that's the drinking game for tonight. All right. So I just want to get right off the bat here. We got, of course, we have returning from Born to Watch, Mr. Matt. How we doing, Matt?
Good, thanks, Cyber. It's good to be back. I've had a little bit of a hiatus, but excited to be talking about Denzel Washington, Val Kilmer, Paula Patton, and time travel.
Geez. 5 drinks, people.
You are playing dirty, sir.
That's Matthew for you.
Nah, mate, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a criminally underrated film. I'm really excited to talk about it.
Excellent. Great to have you. And then, of course, we have returning from the Middle Age podcast, Matt and Tim. Welcome, guys. How are we doing tonight?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Doing excellent.
Excellent. And, of course, as always, my loyal co-host, Mr. Jeff S., Mr. TrueKnowledge. How we doing, Jeff?
I'm just here to fucking seek and destroy Matthews, serve Matthews up real quick for more to watch on the panel tonight. So just to make it clear, it's on. Let's do it, mate. Kangaroo Jack style, motherfucker.
Oh, Kangaroo Jack. Not Kangaroo.
I'm bringing that Kangaroo Jack motherfucking thunder.
Yeah, we can't have a show without Matt on without mentioning kangaroos at least a dozen times, people. So be on the lookout for the word kangaroo, folks. All right,
A dramatic fight between two wild kangaroos on a suburban street in Australia. The two marsupials slugged it out.
Watch out, folks.
There you go.
Why do kangaroos look like deer that's been like roided up?
Because they
That's how we roll.
Because they need to be fought by dudes, obviously. Come on now.
That's how we roll down here, mate. Anything can kill you at the blink of an eye.
You gotta handle your business. You gotta watch out with that ruse, bitch.
Everything in Australia is like roided out. I feel all the deadly animals down there. I swear to God.
Yo, Denzel would just stare down a kangaroo and like melt his ass.
Drink, everyone.
Wait. Do we still drink even though he said the just the first name or the whole one?
Yeah.
What if we just say time, but we don't use the other word at the end of it?
Just as you only put the tip in, bruh, doesn't mean you didn't. It's
now
not
time travel, folks. This is just plain. You don't have to drink to this. Time travel, you have to say fully time travel. That one,
fair enough.
yeah. But Denzel Washington, Val Kilmer, those two you can say Val or Kilmer or Denzel or Washington.
But I'm okay if I say Washington, George. We don't have to drink, right?
Correct.
All right.
All right, guys. So right off the bat, I want to ask a question just to kind of get everyone's kind of thought process here. And how do you guys feel this movie compares to other films that have to do with time travel? Oh, Drake.
Don't.
So, yeah, what do you guys think? How do you feel it compares to other films that are similar to this type of genre? So, starting with you, Matt, how would you say that about Deja Vu?
Okay, I think this time travel movies are an interesting genre, and I think that, and I think some are done very well and some are done quite poorly. I think this one is. When I was watching it last night, I was thinking to myself, this is really pushing the envelope. This technology is really, really pushing the envelope. Like, I know time travel in general is pushing the envelope, but this takes it to the next level. Now, did I buy it? Yeah, I did. I really did buy it. The thing I like about it is that it initially starts just as a sort of police procedural, and then it just flips it. And you go into this crazy deja vu machine sort of realm. That's what I like about it. So it's not just a time travel film. Drink again. It's something more than that.
Does anyone tell Cyber that his microphone
you're muted, sir.
muted?
I was wondering what the fuck was happening.
He's drunk
already.
already.
Watching though. You see the lips.
I was like, are we having some kind of like intense awkward silence or some shit?
I was gonna say,
yes. I was testing you, Jap, to see if you would pay attention to what I was doing.
Oh shit! I thought Kangaroo Jack got me.
I was waiting for subtitles.
He might have.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I thought he went silent movie on us, and there was gonna be subtitles.
I was waiting for the English dub to come in. Oh mate, I saw
settle down.
Yeah, the more you make us drink, the worse the Australian accents are gonna get, sir.
It's a good thing I learned. It's a good thing I learned sign language from Echo.
Crikey, I'm drunk.
Echo gave me sign language and Goldie hands, baby. Gotta love it.
All right, middle-aged Matt.
All right,
same question, sir.
Since I'm the other Matt on the podcast tonight, so I think this is an interesting way to look at holding space and traveling through a voyage of time. And I thought it was neat that it definitely was a good science-based fiction story. You know, I thought it was kind of neat that they were able to even deal with some of the classic, like Back to the Future tropes. Like, if I leave a message to somebody in the past, did they see it in the future, kind of thing. It was really neat how, you know, Malcolm X was able to transfer his knowledge to George Patton's granddaughter.
Good one.
Thank you. I'm here all night.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Middle-aged Tim, same question, sir, please.
So I think along the lines of sailing the seas of time momentum, this movie does a good job of it, and I especially like that. Especially if you don't read anything about it, you have no idea it's a time momentum movie. It doesn't even happen for I think the first 35-40 minutes of the show, and then it's like, oh my gosh, there's a whole sci-fi plot to it. So I think it does a good job there. I
thought it was Training Day 2. Right up until now.
No, because Denzel's not walking around going, I'm crazy.
Oh fuck.
Denzel, nobody thinks you're crazy. Stop it. You're far too crazy to be that crazy. But I think it does the typical, let me explain the time travel. Oh, damn it. There we go. Drink. By doing the folding the paper and trying to explain the Einstein-Rosen bridge with the here's the two circles, jam the pen through explanation. So that's pretty typical, but it makes it very easy for everybody to understand the concept. Otherwise, I think it's a great show.
Excellent. Thank you. Jeff, same question, sir. How would you compare this to other films that are about time travel? Oh, drink.
Well, I actually used that same concept with the folding the paper and shit and whatnot and all that shit when I talked to my son about having sex with women for the first time. We had our big talk, right? It was very much like based off of, modeled off of Don't Be Molested, while drinking your juice in the hood, and all that shit and whatnot. Like that talk between the father and the son where the father's like, like younger than his son. And he's like, did you use a condom with her? And when the son's like, no, he's like, hell yeah, boy. You takes away all the feeling. That's how it was with me and my son when we had our big talk, right? And so at that point, I used the whole paper with the pen going through it and shit and whatnot to as a sort of prop to explain how things as a man should be when not with women in terms of certain matters. But nothing, of course, that happened during Deja Vu. Unfortunately, there was no titty shots or nothing. Well, there was. I forgot. My bad. I should have to drink because of that. No, I'm sorry, Cyber. I was so infatuated with whatever the fuck bullshit I was just talking about, I totally forgot your question. So, what was it?
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
I'm just kidding.
Anyways, are you sure now?
No, what was your question, sir?
I asked, how would you compare the time travel aspect from this movie to other time travel films? Oh, drink twice.
Nice. Okay, well, I will compare it. There is no comparison. What makes Deja Vu so unique is that, and this is where I think Denzel probably really comes into play a lot, as the leading man, is that they go about the whole premise of it being that type of film in such a different way. And then they slip it in and use it in such a different way that it's in its own category almost, right? Like, honestly, I wouldn't know how many different words that you would throw into its actual category or like words you use to label it, because it's a lot of different things. I don't really view it as a time, Lord Timecop Andre's, time sliding type dynamic type movie, because they don't make it the emphasis of the film. It's just a side thing, right? It's just part of the deal. They drop the shit, like they drop the technology on our main character from jump. And then throughout the film, he actually learns the depth of it and whatnot, right? And they experiment and push limits and whatnot. And because it's Denzel, drink, you can take like 4 bullets and shit and whatnot in the chest and shit and just walk around and shit afterwards. So it's that's always good. That helps the film. But either way, no, I don't think I could really, in all honesty, compare this to any film in that genre. It's a very unique one, if anything. Maybe there's better ones, obviously, than this one in that genre. But in terms of its uniqueness, I think Deja Vu should be given its credit.
Okie dokie. Thank you, sir. So, this movie, we've all come to the conclusion that it's very much a cop-based film with this sci-fi edge to it. And in my personal opinion, I find it to be that portion, the sci-fi travel part, to be my favorite part of the film. And I think that concept was kind of an interesting, unique concept of them trying to stop the bad guy by doing this. So I think that, Deja Vu is one of those films where, like everyone said here, it doesn't get enough credit for how fun it actually is. Because if you look at the Rotten Tomato score, it, got really bad mixed reviews, which cracks me up. But it had such a stellar cast. Now, of course, this has, Mr. Malcolm X in it. We have, Mr. Val Kilmer, drink. Paula Patton, drink.
I'm happy to drink, Eddie. I'm happy to drink over Val Kilmer. I like Val Kilmer.
It also has Eldon Ratliff Henson in it. We have a great cast, just a huge, great cast in this. Directed by Tony Scott, who unfortunately, killed himself in 2012, which was shortly after this came out, only 6 years or so after this came out. So he was a fantastic director. I think that he did a really fantastic job with this film as well. And, Tony Scott, was the younger brother of Ridley Scott. And he's directed a lot of great films over the years. I know that a lot of people enjoyed his stuff. So, I'm really surprised he went out the way he did. But Deja Vu is one of those films, too, I feel that it keeps you interested the entire film. I felt like the first time I watched this film, I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, this feels just like a police procedural type of film, kind of like Training Day or any film that's around that type of genre. But then once they brought in all those characters and started bringing in the FBI and the secret that they wanted, Denzel to be a part of, Drake.
My boy.
That was really kept you enticed and went through the whole thing. So my next question for you guys is, what was your first experience with this film? What was your first reaction to this film the first time you watched it? And if this is your first time watching it, do you feel if you had seen it back in 2006, do you feel you would have had a different perspective on it? Let's start with middle-aged Matt, please.
Okay. Well, yeah, this was actually the first time I watched it. And I was actually watching it with my wife, and about halfway through the movie, once we started seeing the time element come into it, it was like you could start seeing the points leading from spot A to spot B to C and D. And it kind of like one of those things that kind of like got you thinking. And it was kind of hard. It wasn't hard to follow, but it was definitely one of those things like, how can that happen? And it was just neat that as the movie progressed, you got further into the storyline, you realized that the time voyage element was a device to help move the story forward. And that, I thought it was really neat. Now, had I seen this in 2006, like shortly after Katrina, I probably would have been a little more, seen it more of an emotional hit, because I mean, Katrina had just happened. They actually used footage of in the movie of some of the aftermath, like when they were going after the guy that played Jesus Christ from Passion of the Christ. I can't think of his name right now. When they were going after him. Yes.
Caviezel.
Yeah. Once they were going after him, and they had like all that footage of the actual, areas that were devastated, I thought, wow, that's kind of a kicker. So, but yeah, I mean, for the first time watching this movie, I thought it was a fun movie. I thought that the elements were really there. I thought it was a great story, and I really do like how they kind of set up all the little key points. So you could see how things that happened in the past affected the future, and things that are about to happen because he goes back in time. It was really neat. It was the first time I'd actually seen something to go in where, because every time I watch one of these movies, there's always like that one little thing that kind of stands out. Like, well, if he didn't travel back to meet his mom, then what would have really happened, kind of thing. Now I'm rambling.
Well, thank you, sir. Good job. All right, middle-aged Tim, same question, sir.
Well, I originally thought I'd seen this movie, and then very quickly had a little vujade and realized that I had never seen this before. So I enjoyed the movie as it sat. I think I probably wouldn't have watched it with an eye to detail back if I'd have watched it when it first came out, because that was back in the day when I just would watch a movie and move on to the next because, okay, seen it, check it off, move on. And I enjoy a good linear time movie or non-linear time movie. And I liked how the writer of this movie, not so much the director, I really want to give the credit to the writer here. I think he uses a lot of misdirection in this film. Like there's a lot of he wants you to think something's going to go on over here. And a good example of that is the date that she has. Well, who is that? It kind of leads you to think maybe for a second, well, maybe it's Denzel because his fingerprints are all over the apartment, does things like that. And he's doing that so he can do something over here. So it's watch my hand here, but I'm really going to pull something over here that's going to surprise you. So it keeps you guessing. It's not a face value movie. It's not, spoon feeding you everything. So you got to think about it a little bit. And it gets deeper because there's little things in the movie that I think I wouldn't have picked on early on. Like I noticed at the beginning, because I'm watching this for the podcast. So I'm like, the goggles, you see the guy at the very beginning with those goggles on wandering around when you see all the sailors and things like that going on. And I'm like, what? That's weird. What's going on with those goggles thing? What's that guy wearing? And one of the other things that struck me too is the phone ring. And like, what's the whole premise behind that? Like, at the beginning when he's standing among the bodies.
Those goggles are actually very similar to the rig I use Cybernose to look for my extremely tiny penis sometimes.
I understand, like that's important, so it's good they were able to multitask and find other uses for those.
The creator of my device, it used that as the copy.
It's always good when the government can find a consumer use for their product. So But yeah, like I sat there and I didn't think much about the phone ringing in the beginning. And then I'm like, well, he looks at his phone, it's ringing, and there's a phone ringing in the body bag. Is that dead Denzel in the bag? You know, it just, you start to really like, those are the kind of things I think I notice now that I wouldn't have noticed then. So I think I pick apart time travel movies because, as Matt pointed out, there are some really good ones out there, and there are some incredibly shitty ones that do horrible jobs. So
Drake
3.
And this one does a good job at it.
Excellent. Thank you, Middle-aged Tim. Okay, Mr. Matt from Down Under. Your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, okay. I didn't see this movie at the movies, but I saw this movie. Back in the days, I used to own a DVD rental shop, or video shop, and this was one that I just came across on the shelves. And I love Tony Scott. I've had a long relationship with Tony Scott. Love Tony Scott movies. Man on Fire is amazing with Denzel Washington. So when I saw that this was another Denzel Tony Scott thing, I was all over it. Yep. Sorry. I'll be better. And
I don't believe you.
Yeah. Well, you're right. And so
Australians are known for drinking, so I'm just going to say that. All right.
Tricky, goddamn kangaroo jack motherfuckers.
And so when I watched it, I loved it from the start. This has been one of those movies that I've been very quick to recommend to people because it's a movie that not many people have seen. Because I think that Tony Scott's fairly divisive as a director. I'm not going to say he's a one-trick pony, but you can definitely tell a Tony Scott film. Now, I love them, so I got no dramas with that. But I think that what we're all saying here is that the time travel aspect of the film is,
you asshole,
is something that is, I guess, it's so patient, this film. The first, no one talks for 9 minutes in this movie at the start. There's not a character doesn't talk for 9 minutes. And it's so patient getting to the payoff, which is when they finally find out what Snow White is. But that first 30 minutes that sets up the character of Doug Cullen, and it's essentially like, just question for everyone here. Does he fall in love with her in the morgue on the table? Like, is that, because for me, I find this is a love story.
No, he just says out.
Yeah.
Well, and do you find that scene creepy? Because normally you would have like a body in there that, you know, has glossed over eyes, and you could tell it's her laying on there doing her best job. Awesome job at being dead. Doesn't move, doesn't flinch, but those eyes are alive. You know, it's almost creepy in that sense too. So I'm sorry, but I just wanted to point that out.
No, I agree. And I think that, but I think it actually reminds me of and this is a bit of a long bow, but it reminds me a lot of From Dusk Till Dawn, where you start off with one narrative and then all of a sudden it just flips on its head and it becomes something different. And it actually, the flip makes it something better. So I think that when Doug Carlin starts to question what is going on with this Snow White project and starts to actually, he's Batman. He's legitimately Batman. He's the world's greatest detective, Doug Carlin. So when he starts to question, I think the movie goes to a whole new level. I think it's incredible. I really love it.
You know, Matt, to kind of bounce off that idea that you had, did he fall in love with her immediately upon seeing her in the morgue? The entire movie kind of had that whole destiny underlining storyline through there. It's like, it definitely questions, you know, are we destined to see certain people or meet certain people in life? And the whole, you know, time aspect to it all, it definitely made me question, was he always destined to meet her and to fall in love with her?
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's hilarious that we're going to talk about a Tony Scott, Denzel Washington film that's extremely layered, but it's really quite layered. And I think that that this love story, which carries it through right up until the very last scene, where she uses the line on him about, you know, what would you do if I had to tell something to someone and they were going to tell you you're crazy? He goes, well, I'd tell them. I think that like they are destined to meet, it would seem. And it's funny though, they do flip the time. Sorry, people. The time travel narrative here is flipped.
I don't have any alcohol. You're
so often because they decide they do the explanation. I'm sure we'll get to it, but they do the explanation about having another timeline and how they don't know what's going to happen. But in every other movie, like he blows up, but then 5 minutes later, he's walking down the street. Now, there's all these things where they've just decided, well, we're just going to make this work for us. And I don't have a problem with that, to be honest, because I've already bought well into the movie. So I actually want them to get together. But yeah, I agree. I think there's an element of destiny in the film all the way through it.
Well, and just one more thing before we move on. I think the morgue scene offers Denzel like a classic quote moment there. I mean, it's almost like reminiscent of the stuff from the 80s, like with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where at one point they look at him and go, "Did you know her?" He's like, "No, but I got to hold her hand once." And I was like, oh, that's so awesome. Like, it's just the payoff comes so much later, but you're like, what? And then you think about it, like, oh yeah, he did hold her hand. It's just like, oh, you know, the bics are out, you got the flame out, like, woo!
Yeah.
Nah, I don't know about that. Holding hands doesn't get my flame out.
It's the start, mate. It's the start.
Nah.
It's because you're missing. It's
I'm
a
too
romantic,
old.
man. You got to get the romantic in you.
I'm too old, bruh. Too old for all that. I need a little bit more. I need a little bit more kick in the time movement game. In terms of whatever. Anyways, Cyber, throw some shit at me so I can fucking contribute and get some more alcohol.
Okay, well, I was getting to you, sir. I just wanted to thank both Matt and everyone else for their input there. Great job, guys. So, Mr. Jeffrey, your thoughts on the same question I've been asking everyone else, sir, which escapes my mind. But
whatever I have to say is going to be better than all them. I can tell you that right now.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be Denzel-esque, right? So, just to be clear. Which means drink.
Right.
I think I have at least a sip. I do. So
I'd like to mention to everybody that I did not have dinner tonight, so this is going to get ugly real fast.
It's a good thing that you possibly could not even be human. So we don't know. But no. Honestly, I think that I saw this film once back in the day. When it came out in 26, I probably saw it in 27. I didn't see it in theaters, so I saw it when it came out, released or whatever, whatnot, like at Blockbuster or something like that.
You mean 2006, 2007? You mean?
Yeah, so 2007 would be when I would have saw it. I probably rented it at Blockbuster or something like that, and I remember seeing it, and then I saw it today for the first time, and honestly, it's Denzel just carries the film so well that like I miss him, right? Like I miss the guy, and I think that in terms of Tony Scott, the director, he did a great job. I'm not sure what the budget was in this film. I'm gonna look it up right now, but I know it was not super high.
75 million.
75 million. Okay.
Yep.
That's I mean, at that in 2006, that's quite a bit of money. I think that honestly, looking back at this movie from a lens of where it was at that time, in comparison to what else was coming out, right? This movie is sort of a hidden gem in a way, just because although a lot of the secondary characters maybe aren't as don't have the depth that maybe you're going to get from a lot of other movies, right? This is very much like a Denzel movie. It is. And I think that I give props to Tony Scott for making it his movie like he did, because I think that he sells the technology and sells the character being sort of so naive almost at times at first about what's actually going on and what they're able to do. I mean, I don't want to get too far into the review, Cyber, so I'm going to keep it there. I just think that in general, the directing and overall the production of the film was really well done. And for that budget, they really accomplished a lot.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. So how about we show everyone the trailer for this bad boy to get you all enticed. And then if anybody needs to refill, take a bathroom break, pray that their liver is okay, May, we can do that while the trailer is playing.
Take your chlamydia medication. There you go.
You think you know what's coming? You don't have a clue. You don't have a clue.
It's a phenomenon known as deja vu. It's a phenomenon known as deja vu. You arrive at a place you've never been, but it feels familiar. You look into the face of a stranger, and you feel like you've known her all your life.
Have we met?
Yeah. Yeah, we have.
Deja vu is believed by many to be a trick of the mind, but the truth is far more extraordinary.
What if you had to tell someone the most important thing in the world, but you knew they'd never believe you?
I tried.
Doug, I've been put in charge of a newly formed investigative unit. I want you on the team.
Why me?
We've got some unique time constraints.
He has been shown a secret.
It's a brand new program. We can look anywhere 4 days in the past.
The government doesn't want you to know.
This is not surveillance. This is the actual past.
Yes.
They found a way to fold space back onto itself. Remember that blackout we had a few years back?
Half the Northeast. You're saying you guys?
50 million homes?
My bad.
Wow.
This Thanksgiving, the key to stopping disaster.
You think you know what's coming? You don't have a clue.
Starts by unraveling the mystery of deja vu.
What if you had to tell someone the most important thing in the world, but you knew they'd never believe you?
I try.
I got it. You know you don't have to do this.
What if I already have?
Deja vu. If you think it's just a feeling, go back and look again.
Excellent. Now, did anybody notice in that trailer they were using the music from Saw? That was the music that they would play when at the end of the Saw movies when it was being shown who was behind the killings and everything. That music was from Saw, which I find hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious that they use that, because at this time in 2006, the Saw movies were very prevalent at the time. So I'm surprised nobody ever noticed that. Like, hey, that's the Saw music. That's hilarious. I wonder if the same composer did the music for this movie. I need to look that up. Anyways, a nice little trailer there. I think it gives a pretty good idea of what the film's about. Had anyone seen that trailer before?
No, can't say that I have.
No, I did not either.
No, it's a no for me.
All right. How about you, Jeff? Had you seen that trailer before?
Only in another life, sir.
Excellent. I remember seeing that trailer on TV back in 2006. So I had seen that before, but at that time I didn't recall that being the music from Saw. But I remember that trailer and I enjoyed it, and that's what got me wanting to go see it.
I was smoking that fake marijuana back then, that real fucked up fake weed shit that made you all fucking crazy. I was on all that back then. I think at that time that was my deal.
You mean like the bath salts?
Yeah, the bath salt shit. I was all up into that. You know, have my own deja vu, bitch.
I think you're a major deja vu when you're taking bath salts. Jesus Christ. Anyway,
it was deja vu every day, guys.
Yeah, deja vu until you stop that stuff, I guess. Anyways, all right. Excellent, guys. All right, so we mentioned that this was made for $75 million in 2006. It actually ended up taking in $180.6 million. So it ended up actually making some money, even though it was not a big hit with the critics. It still was financially successful. So I was impressed with that. I mean, with the star power, I think Jim Caviezel plays really good bad guys. Any movie he's ever in, I've always liked Jim Caviezel, and I think that his bad guy in this is a really good bad guy, and I think he did a really good job. So what's everyone's take on Jim Caviezel in this? Did you like him? Did you not like him? Do you think he could have been better? What was your overall thoughts on him? I'd start with you, middle-aged Tim.
I thought he did a good job. I mean, he played a good disenfranchised wannabe patriot, military rejected person. I mean, he's like, you don't know what's coming. I've seen what's coming for us. And, I'm a true patriot. He gives all the typical lines that you would expect somebody who's been rejected and thinks that they are smarter than everybody about how government and the democracy should be run. I think he plays just an excellent bad guy in that he does all the right things in there. He's exactly what I would expect for someone like, I guess Unabomber-esque to be, I mean, it's without having his own, manifesto that he's putting out there. But when he sits and does his interview with Denzel, and he's just telling him like, look, you have no idea, I'm a true patriot. The tree of democracy has to be pruned once in a while. All those typical statements. So I think he hits it, squarely, hits the head of the nail with the hammer. So does an excellent job there.
Excellent. Thank you. Down under Matt, your thoughts, sir, on Jim Caviezel?
Yeah, he's a good baddie. He's pretty understated. He's pretty more action than words. But I think that I particularly enjoy the interrogation scene with him and Doug Carlin. You're welcome. And I think, yeah, look, he's had an interesting career, right? So he's played a lot of these types of characters where he's a bit of the bad guy, but then obviously he's sort of not done a heap for as good an actor as he is. I know that maybe Passion of the Christ might have hurt his career a little bit, but I don't know why. Have I told you my story about Passion of the Christ? Can we just digress for a second? That I was on my honeymoon and I went to see Passion of the Christ.
You experienced the Passion of the Christ during your honeymoon?
Yeah, I did many times. And I was on my honeymoon and because it was absolutely pissing with rain, huge storms for about a week. So we went to see the Passion of the Christ and we're sitting at the back of the cinema. It's a chock cinema. It's full. And I'm in the bit where he's being whipped, where Jesus Christ is being whipped and he's got to carry the crucifix. He's being whipped. And a guy next to me, this is so Aussie and you guys will love this, guy next to me taps me on the shoulder and says, if that was me, I'd kick that guy's fucking ass. And I go, I think you've missed the point of the movie, mate. So that's my little Passion of the Christ story. But yeah, Jim Caviezel, he's a great baddie, and I think he does a good job here. He's very, very cold, very cold.
Thank you.
I'm out.
All right, excellent. Up over Matt. Your thoughts, please, sir.
Well,
he's so cold he froze his chlamydia off.
It has fallen off.
I have to mirror Tim and Matt's sentiments. He definitely played a good disenfranchised soldier, or a disenfranchised person who wanted to be in the military. It's kind of scary that he says that he was too good for the military as far as, it kind of reminded me that one Simpsons episode where Bart Simpson said that he was really good in his military school at the killing class. So, but yeah, he definitely zeroed into like that Timothy McVeigh and that, hard edged, bunker building type of stereotype.
He's got a pretty cool little hideout, doesn't he? Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All bad guys have a really cool hideout.
I was about to say you have to. He is the bad guy in the movie. He's got. I mean, would you expect him to have fucking some little bullshit Rubit some.
Well, I
bullshit.
don't know. Like nowadays, most of the bad guys live with their parents and jack off 13 times a day,
right? He has a real bad guy lair, you know. Yeah,
he does. He's got. That's what I mean. He's got a lair. He does.
Yeah,
he's got pet alligators. He's got everything.
He's making bullets with his own hands and shit.
Yeah, he could have been the Punisher. Honestly,
yes,
it's just the way that he was set up. He could have been.
I don't know how to make a bullet with my own hands.
I think he's a cross between the Punisher and Dr. Evil with the sharks. Like he's got his alligator, Dr. Evil had the sharks. That's kind of where he falls. So he
had a chance to rape a chick, and instead he set her on fire. That's how dedicated he is.
Yeah, yeah.
All he needs is a little mini me then.
Hello. Yeah, he just needs a little mini me. So
but hang on a minute. Like
get some lasers on that alligator.
Maybe he's more of a lightsaber guy.
Let's talk about his morals then, though, because he did have an option to rape her, but he decided, no, I'm not going to rape her. I'm just going to burn her alive. So he's got some morals.
Maybe he doesn't like the dark meat.
Oh man, I just like to think he's a man on a mission. That's like,
I mean, I do. Just to be clear, ladies, I'm a big fan.
He's not a scumbag. I mean, he's like, he's just like, look, I've got this mission. And I have a message, and I'm going to do what I need to do to get it across to people. He's not like Jack the Ripper, he's out there like, maybe I have a little fun while I'm doing it too. I mean, he was very much.
He's still a dude though, and shit and whatnot. He's obviously unhinged, so he could have hit that shit if he wanted to.
Yeah, but
right?
I don't think every criminal is like that's like, well, I'm going to go do all this other stuff. So
they didn't have that in the budget.
Really out of the bag now.
That wasn't in the budget. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's mass terrorism with a side of rapist. Like it's
Well, it's a movie, so rape. I mean, rape is not as intense.
Well, I mean, he even states in there, he's like, well, you shot him before you set the cop on fire. He's like, well, I got some morals. I didn't want the guy to suffer. He's like, yeah, but you set the girl on fire. He's like, well, that was a necessity because I needed her to look like a victim. I mean, so he's just methodical. He's not, he's not a rapist. He's just methodical in his tasks. And still with cool layers. So there you go.
Yeah, he's a winner for me.
He's everything you want in a villain and more.
He just didn't want anybody to find out that he left chlamydia on her, so he burned that shit.
Yeah. The only thing he's missing is I don't have a Mr. Bigglesworth.
This is in poor taste, but I'm just wondering if maybe 3 days later in the next movie he comes back to life.
Yes. Yes.
There's almost a moment when he's on the boat where he's like, this isn't right. This is not how this is supposed to happen. You're like, can that guy time travel too? You just have that one second where you're like thinking about like maybe he can time travel too, and you're like, no.
Awesome, guys. All right, Jeff. Same question, sir. Your thoughts on Jim Caviezel's?
Well, I mean, everybody in the panel pretty much already killed it. So what am I going to say? I mean, shit, you put me in a tight spot here at the end of the panel. These questions.
You said you want to showing up down under Matt, so you gotta show him, sir.
Hey, listen,
bring your A game, mate, because you are losing. You are losing in a one-on-one battle. This is like LeBron. This is like LeBron and Jordan, mate, and you are LeBron. You are getting owned.
I'm LeBron. Oh man,
I'm trying to set you up.
It's rough to be LeBron, bro. It ain't good. Motherfucker he's walking around with books, like pretending he's reading them and shit and whatnot, and gets asked a question about it and can't even answer. So I don't want to be Bron. No, but I'm a fan of the dark meat, though. I'm gonna make that clear. It's very important to me. It was only through through that experience, my Wakanda experience, I was able to become really transracial. Which is a really deep thing for me. There's nothing more representational or whatever, whatnot, than actually, becoming Wakandan or Mexican. Right, Matthew? Anyways.
I'm still trying to get over transracial. Fucking hell.
Hey, transracial is the best, baby. Anyways.
What are their pronouns? What are their pronouns?
Jim Caviezel is great in everything, like everybody else said. He's great in everything. I can't think of any single performance he's ever made where I was disappointed with him as an actor, portraying the character in whatever film or even TV series I think he's been on. And he's been in a lot of movies for a long time. We're going back to like the mid to late 90s. I think was when he first popped around like the radar. So as I'm kind of picking the carcass here, vulture style and shit and whatnot on the question, I just, I guess we'll just point out that they, at this time period in 26, he was carrying some weight. So I can see why they cast him in that role. And really, when you think about it in the film, besides, our main characters, like the main, PP and Big D, he's really the third character that actually has any depth. I'm not afraid to drink. Don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? I just want to keep get my game straight and whatnot every day, so I can make sure I fucking smoke Matthew. I don't want to, fuck my shit up. Either way, though, in general, all I can really say is that okay, USA, and that's it. Thank you, sir.
Excellent. Thank you. Awesome. All right, guys. Okay, so after that beautiful, colorful demonstration there by all, wonderful conversation. All right, so basically this movie, if we get into the meat of it, apparently we're going to show you the massage and spa by Sheila. Anyways, getting into the meat of the film, basically the movie starts off, there's an explosion on a ferry. Mr. Doug Carlin comes into the scene to see what's going on. And we see all the dead bodies around. Several people injured. 453 people have been murdered by this explosion. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's this oddball death of this person, this woman. And, Doug checks out this other person, noticing that she looks different compared to all the other victims of the explosion on the ferry. And so he starts to dig into it and realizes that this woman wasn't anywhere near this ferry when it went off. He finds out that she actually called his office the morning of the bombing and comes to the conclusion that she was actually killed prior to the explosion on the boat, on the ferry. And so he starts to, look into that more. Well, with that great detective work that Doug is doing, that catches the eye of the FBI, who is led by Mr. Val Kilmer. Drake?
I can't remember what the fuck my drink's even at anymore.
And so they basically bring him in, and they basically tell him that they have this object that they have, this machine that can look into the past. Not really go into detail how it can do that and all this stuff. Just telling him basically we can go a couple days in the past and see what was happening. And so Doug, as he comes in, he starts working with the FBI. He starts to notice things about it and like what's going on here, and he starts to ask questions. And eventually, basically, he asks enough questions to kind of get an idea that this machine is called Snow White, and that it has the ability to basically bend time so that they can see in a certain window back in time. So he finds that out, after questioning and stuff like that. And, he finally gets his answer and he's kind of like, oh, this is interesting. And so after he finds that out, and deducting these things and realizing these things, he basically
do you mean to do things, sir? Do I need to daddy smack you real quick?
What?
Nothing, sir.
Okay. Anyways, deducing, which apparently Jeff really likes that word for some reason, because he wants to use his daddy paddle, which I don't know why. That's just odd. But anyways, so the program, which is called Snow White, he suggests that they use that to send a note to himself in the past. So before we go past that, before we get into that really, let's talk about kind of the beginning section of this film and kind of your overall thoughts on that. and kind of leading up to, Doug, basically finding out what it's called, what the machine actually does, and suggesting to send back that note. What were your thoughts up to that point on the film? Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? What did you enjoy about it? And just overall your thoughts on that. Since Jeff doesn't seem to get enough time, I'm going to go to you first, sir.
Well, so at that point in the film, I think that now we're talking about going up to what point, sir? Hey, I got a lot going on here, sir.
Well, maybe we stop texting everyone.
I've got chlamydia going on. I've got, drinking too, play drinking games. I mean,
I think you need to smack yourself with your daddy paddle.
I will.
Anyways, no, up to when Doug wants to send back the note to himself to help with this investigation.
I love how Mr. D pulls off the whole being stupid almost for so long with this whole program, this surveillance program, whatever, whatnot. From jump, the shit smells fishy. It's like, wait a minute here. This is obviously more intense than just some normal shit or whatever, right? So my whole thing is I'm thinking to myself in the movie, why would they just let some random, whatever kind of agent, TSA agent, whatever the fuck he was, I don't know, whatever agent he was, why would they let him be involved this heavily in this type of project, this type of machine, this type of tech, right? Why would they allow him to be so heavily orientated or participating into this shit when it's this deep? We're talking about time folding fucking type concepts here, right?
Well, Jeff, the real Batman in the movie kind of explained that because they discovered that Doug was able to actually be a detective. He could see, he kind of proved to everybody that he could see things and draw conclusions from point A to point B to point C. So the whole point of him being there was because he was another outside witness. He was somebody who could actually think things through and think things out.
No, you're right. Batman. No, most definitely. The film establishes his credibility, right? From jump. That obviously he's good at his job. You want to say something, Matthew? Go ahead.
Well, I think originally they wanted his partner. They wanted Minuti. They had the relationship with Minuti. And I think that he was like, well, no, he's not here, but I'm here. I'm his partner. And I think that's why he was also one of the reasons he was originally brought in. But yeah, look, he's Batman. He's the world's greatest detective. So that's why they wanted him. He's Sherlock Holmes meets Batman.
No, so I like the cast. I like the casting overall. I felt like for this kind of film, the actors and actresses that they surrounded our main character, right, with were at that time period were pretty solid. They make the film work, right? They don't ever make it clunky or take anything away from the momentum of the film, right? Off this main intro sort of segment of the movie. I guess bottom line, I think that if anything, to sort of bounce off of how influential or how much he proves himself as a character, Big D's character sort of almost from jump takes over with the rest of the team just because he's so quick to what they're doing and it's just so logical and so good at his own job, I guess, that all I can really say is the scene where we see Miss PMP titties within this part.
Yes, and there's more to that.
Okay, well, she's got some nice titties. I mean, those are some Oscar winner, right? I'm serious, Oscar nomination type titties right there for reals. And if you shouldn't be ashamed when you're using this kind of technology and you get a chance to see some hot chicks' titties. You should just own it up And just, you're watching that shit. It is what it is. There you go. Okay, USA. Let's do it.
There you go, folks. Well, Down Under Matt, same question you, sir, but I want to give you the special award tonight for winning the game already with that comment by Jeff. Because you have infinity points right now compared to his ass. So
what about Kumite points, baby? What's up?
No Kumite points for you.
I think it was unfair because Jeff was always going to flame out early. Jeff goes hard early. He tends to flame out, and it's happened again. But look,
he's still got time to redeem himself.
He could redeem himself though. I've got no doubt he will. He's got it in him.
I got to improve my stamina.
It didn't help that he had somebody interrupt him, so I think he should have bonus points for having someone interrupt.
I was distracted, so I mean, what I'm saying, that's why my shit wouldn't stay hard, right? I was distracted.
He was kind of like a squirrel. He did get distracted by the boobies in the show. He's
I was distracted.
I forgot where this question is going, so I'm just going to tell you there's a lot of really good booby shots, which they did take advantage of. There was a lot of shots with that girl in there where she's in her bra. I'm like, my God, like they just figured out every way they could to like have her undress and redress over and over again to be in a bra. So I'll give it to you, Sir Jeff. You're right. Those were some excellent shots, and obviously a man was the one that decided to make the editing choice.
If I was really smashed, I would use that technology to go back in time just to smash that chick.
Maybe that's why he's asking: is she dead or is she alive?
Yeah, I would.
And I think that's exactly what Doug Carlin is doing. The minute he sees her prone on the morgue table, it's game on. Look, for me, I think. I really like the start of the movie. I think, as I said earlier, it's really patient. I think it does set up Doug as our hero and as the guy that has all the answers. I think it's quite incredible that there's about 1,000, I guess, law enforcement officers there, and he's the only one that finds 2 pieces of evidence, and no one else does. He's the only one that thinks, well, there could be residue under the bridge, and so I think that. Whilst, he is Sherlock Holmes meets Batman and the world's greatest detective, it's definitely pushed that way. He comes in and there's the 4 law enforcement officers that are talking, and straight away he's the smartest guy in the room. I have a feeling that Doug, whilst he might be an amazing policeman or ATF officer, that I think he'd be a pain in the ass to work with because he'd always be the guy that has the last say and thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. And in this instance, it works because we need someone to push the plot along, and that's what he's doing. But Tony Scott, it's a Tony Scott film in the first 5 minutes of the movie. There's a heap of jump cuts. There's, there's rain. There's everything is so Tony Scott in everything that he does. It's incredible. I think that whilst I'm going to Claire Kucheva, you're welcome. I'm really disappointed that she didn't go on to bigger and better things because she is truly amazingly beautiful, and she's actually not too bad an actress. And she went on and she actually starred in 2 Guns with Denzel as well, where she actually gets her kit completely off. Jeff, you'd be quite happy to know, and that's worth a drink, that one. But yeah, I think the start of the movie is extremely patient. We are being set up for the big reveal of the Snow White, and I do like that. Also, they don't try to explain what it is. They just say, we've come across this technology by accident. We can go back 4 days, and that's really all the explanation you get. And I really like that because I think what might have detracted from that is if they then tried to explain it, then we can start to pick holes in it and go, well, this doesn't work. You don't have a flux capacitor. You don't have this. You don't have that. And I think the fact that they sort of don't play us for fools. They just let us discover it and sort of, you're either going to buy in with the Snow White project or you're not. And I think by the 35-minute mark or 40-minute mark where you learn about it, I think you're already in because of all the great stuff they've done before. Like, one hell of a fucking explosion. Like, holy shit. And I've got to say, 534 people, old Carol Orstat, he's not fucking around, right? He's a hell of a terrorist. So I think that initial part of the movie is incredible. I think and then when it flips and becomes the next phase, I think it makes it even better because of that really patient first sort of 35 minutes. And I'm out.
Excellent. Thank you, down on the map.
Oh, you motherfucker.
All right.
That's another round of me.
So I'm going to agree a lot with Ozzy Matt on some of this. I think the movie does establish early on that Denzel's the smartest guy in the room. And the king of, drink. And he's the king of the friendly backhand. I mean, and that's shown when he walks in there and all those cops those 4 guys are standing in that room and they're all kind of talking about the whole case and everything. They got the rulers out, the flies are unzipped. They're like, look, mine's bigger than yours. No, yours is bigger than mine. He comes, he goes, it is a terrorist act. And this is why here's the blasting cap, follow this shielding and you'll be able to determine who made the explosives and stuff. Like, who are you? He's like, oh, I'm just the ATF guy. He's like, and who where's the coffee? And they're like, what? He's like, where's the coffee? He's like, well, it's over here. He's like, well, you really are in charge. Backhand. And then he walks away. He leaves them all standing like that dude. Just like, he didn't even pull it out. He just proves to us he's the smartest guy in the room. So awesome on that. So once you establish that, he's that smart, then they're trying to explain this whole Snow White thing to them. They drive in and he's like, I'm sure you've got a lot of questions. Like, well, I'd have to see something in order to have those questions. And then you get to see that cool, like, Hadron Collider thing off to the side. And you're like, oh, what the hell is that? It looks awesome. And he comes in, they kind of show him the Snow White thing. And he's like, well, what is this? And they start to describe it. They're like, oh, it's Snow White. And we use 7 satellites. And then anytime 4 of them are aiming in the same place. And that's how we're able to get this view and stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, Snow White, secret wormhole, just let's change the 2 initials around. That's our secret wormhole program. The 7 satellites represent the 7 dwarves. They're trying to give this very superficial explanation. Every time you ask a question, they're all darting their eyes back and forth, be like, how do we explain to the smart guy to keep him in the dark, which obviously doesn't work. He gets all, enraged, smashes the monitor. He's like, look, monitor is alive, monitor is dead. Like, I'm asking you guys a question, like, I'm going to make this real simple for all the simpletons in the room so you can explain it to the smartest guy in the room what the hell's going on. And then they have to break down like, okay, well, we had an R&D grant with the National Reconnaissance with Cambridge, which I thought was weird because that's in England and they're doing something for the United States. So that's already weird to me, but I think that's not really important here. And then he's like, they're trying to give him that, it's to enhance the sensitivity of optical telescopes. And, he's like, this is crap. You guys, this isn't right. And they finally have to like, okay, let's break down. And the 3 guys in the room, which remind me a lot of Jack Black's character. I think it was Enemy of the State when they're like, oh, I thought it was a standard op. They're doing all that stuff. That's those 3 characters. And they know what they're doing the whole time, but they're trying to play dumb to to the smart guy, which they did a great job. I mean, those 3 characters are phenomenal. And they finally have to break down and explain it to him. And he's like, you get it? He's like, yeah, no, yes, I really get it. What do you think? So he does a great job of establishing that, calling their BS on their cursory explanation of how this stuff works. And then, of course, again, they got to get the little paper out. They're like, well, it's an Einstein-Rosen bridge. And, you take the 2 circles and you poke the pencil through and everything. It's like, okay, I get it. I understand how that works. But tell me, is she alive or is she dead? And they're like, well, she's technically alive. And he's like, well, then let's send a note. And, a lot of back and forth goes. And then finally, like, they send the note and they prove they can do it. And they're like, woo, again, the Vicks come out and they're all like, look what we did. We're great. And it really pushes the movie forward past that point. But it takes a lot of analysis, I think, when you first watch it to understand that whole conversation. You got to rewind it, watch it 1 or 2 times, and then you finally put it all together and how it all works. And again, I think the director and the writer do a good job of doing sleight of hand or misdirection on how they're trying to do less is more in the explanation. And they realize this guy's far too smart. He's picking up on that. So we're going to have to tell him everything.
Excellent. Thank you, Tim. All right. Over Matt. Your thoughts, sir?
So I have to say there's not a whole lot more I can add to this. I have to say that the start of the movie definitely felt like a classic detective film, like a Training Day or something else that you would see Malcolm X in. And I thought it was neat that they chose him to be the smartest man in the room. It was very similar to this one of my favorite television shows, Doctor Who, in which the doctor is not only a person who travels through time and space, but he's also, the smartest man in the room. And I thought it was very similar. I thought it was great how they were able to take a detective story and then like halfway through the movie just suddenly flip it, and now you're watching a science fiction time displacement movie.
Clever.
Plus massage parlor type of shit too.
Yep, there you go. There you go, people. Massage parlor. All right. Excellent, guys. Great job. Great job. All right. Excellent job. Excellent job, guys. All right. So, at this point in the movie, at where we left off, like I said, they had just, Doug decides to persuade the team to send a note to the past, since they have this ability. And, he, of course, at first, before he asked that, he asked, were you guys able to send anything in the past? And they said, yes, we were able to send certain things in the back, such as non-living things. So he's like, okay, so why don't we send a note, to tell us, where the suspect will be. So he gets them to do that. They end up sending the note back, and instead of him intercepting it, his partner intercepts it, Mr. Larry Minuet, who is played by the awesome, what's his name? Matt Craven. And Matt Craven, I don't know if you don't know who he is. He was in Meatballs from 1978. And he was also in a movie called K2 in the mid 90s. He plays usually bit part characters, but he plays Doug's partner in this film. And he ends up finding the note, and he ends up going to try to arrest Jim Caviezel's character, and ends up getting shot by Jim Caviezel. So when they see that happens, basically that's when Doug decides, is there any other way we can use this, Snow White in any other way? And he says, yes, we do have a mobile unit. So he ends up taking the mobile unit and starts chasing after Jim Caviezel's character. And he follows him to where he ends up stopping, which is his hideout or compound where he's hiding out. And so they're able to get a location there and in present time to go and arrest him at the place. And they end up finding out that his name is Kara Orsted, who is an unstable patriot rejected from enlisting in the military, as we mentioned earlier, that he plays this unstable patriot. And after they end up capturing him, he confesses to killing Minuti and Claire, and that he was the one that took the bomb to the ferry and that killed all those victims. And so after he confesses everything, they decide they're going to shut the program down, and that they got their guy and there's nothing else they can do. Well, Doug's not happy with this. He feels like there's more that they can do. And so he ends up trying to get one of the guys to send him back in time, actually. So before we get into that more, what are you guys' thoughts on that section? Jim Caviezel's capture, using the mobile unit, going through that great car chase sequence, all the cars crashing, all that good stuff. Your thoughts on Doug's partner getting shot and all that kind of good stuff. What are your guys' thoughts on that portion of the film? Let's start with middle-aged Tim this time.
Okay, so the first thing I got to ask everybody is, when they do the explanation, when they ask Erica Alexander, how would this work? And she pulls the little timeline thing out and then draws the alternate timeline. Are you guys all, being the MCU, are you guys all waiting for the Time Variance Authority to show up and arrest them? That's all I thought of. I could just wait for them to show up and be like, well, you've broken the timeline and you messed it all up. Here you go with Loki. So
nice.
I actually went further back. I was thinking of Doc Brown with the chalkboard.
Yeah, I just kept thinking, I'm like, oh, you guys do that, Time Variance Authority is going to get you. So I don't know. I really humored myself with that one. But I think the headgear is awesome. I think it's really cool. I think it made for a great scene. I mean, where else have you ever seen something like that, where he's wearing a mobile thing, he puts it on, he's watching one scene in one eye, and he's just crashing into everybody, and it doesn't stop. I mean, he's causing all kinds of accidents. Like, we can't, some kind of federal agent cause this many accidents and nobody stops him, nobody chases him. He just doesn't matter. They're just like, get to where you need to be, get to the chopper, it's just move. So that was very entertaining. I mean,
get to the chopper.
Yeah, get to the chopper. So it was very awesome in that regard. But this is also where the movie starts to break for me a little bit. And I'm going to throw it out to you guys, because you get to the point where he makes it to the compound and he's like, are you guys seeing this? Can you see it? It looks all burned up. I'm like, no, it looks good on our end. And then he sees the ambulance in there, which is flipped upside down. I'm going to refer to that. I'm going to take that as when it blew up, it just flipped. Okay. I'm going to give it that, even though the roof's not off the building. We're just going to go face value at that one. But Claire is wearing a different dress. And this is where I'm like, if this followed the proper timeline, there's no way she could be wearing that dress. And he would cut her fingers off and she would end up in the river in the dress she was presently wearing. So I'm like, how does she end up in this other dress? Like, it really kind of breaks the movie for me right there. That is the pivotal moment where I'm like, I'm calling shenanigans. This is a major flaw in the movie. So, and I don't know if you have better explanations. I mean, I understand that like he tries to keep her with him. Later on, he ends up at the party. He's like, no, don't wear that dress because
someone told me it might have something to do with Bill Cosby.
Yeah, it could very well have something to do with Bill Cosby. He's like, they bring the pudding pops and you have some of this. And yeah, it's just got a lot of Ann, I'm sure. But that's where the movie breaks for me, is at this point in time in it. And this is where I start to think this is not a singular, and I'm going to say, get ready to drink, time travel movie. Denzel has it becomes a looper. It becomes a looper movie. He has done this over and over again, and he fails. It resets, and he keeps trying it until he gets it right. That's when I realized that.
And it's all due to his premature ejaculation.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I don't know about that. I'm going to go with you. You can cover that during your analysis of it, but yeah. So I mean, at that moment, I know this is definitely looping. And that seems like that breaks the movie for me. It just like the continuity is not there. Now I'm hoping maybe one of you is going to be like, this is why it's that way. And you're an idiot middle-aged Tim. So go.
Shit. I got no lightsaber.
Very nicely done, middle-aged Tim. Great job. Thank you, sir. All right. Jeff, your thoughts, sir.
Oh, okay. Put me in the spot for that. All right. Well, as far as closing loopholes go, there's nothing to close. It gets a little bit in that direction, Matt, where you do kind of say to yourself, right, like they're going maybe a little bit too far with the story, as far as like the technology, right, and how I guess convenient it almost is to some extent, right? Like how well it fits their story across the film. I feel like the movie itself is a good movie, and it's better in the beginning than at the end, sort of, for me. So you find more holes, as Matt already pointed out, as we start to get more into Snow White. It just starts to pop up where you're like, okay, I get it that Big D, Oscar winner, is the main, Captain America of the film and shit and whatnot. But still, though, this has got to be based on some kind of like reality. And I liked the scenes where they showcased the partner, and that you watched Doug take in the technology. Once he'd added his own, sort of, spice to it and whatnot and everything, and they've kind of flipped the script. Watching, the whole team watch what was, falling in front of them as they were trying the Snow White technology in a different way for the first time. But again, it shouldn't have been Doug to be the one to provoke that, right? Like they found something that is like that Horizon level shit here, right? So I mean, it to bounce off Matt, for me, I felt like the time looping aspect that comes in the finale bothers me a little bit and whatnot. And it makes things too convenient, I guess, if you could say. But I do really enjoy it. Yes, I'll take a drink happily for this. I do really enjoy Paula Patton.
Right.
In this part of the film, I do. She's really good in the movie. And overall, contributes a lot to, to its quality. And that's how I'm out, bitch. Peace.
So I want to add one more piece before we move on to the next one. So, and it's something to think about. It made me think about this one. There's a time traveling book by Stephen King called 11/22/63 that they made into a miniseries. And one of the things Stephen King points out in there is that time is obstinate and it does not like to be changed. And I'm wondering, like, is that the same thing going on here with Denzel? Like, he's trying to change this so she doesn't die. And time's like, oh no, this is going to happen. And it's going to happen over and over again. And you can't make it change. And that's why he's looping over and over again.
Denzel and the Bleeding Edge does not like the word abstinence.
Rick? All right. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Jeff. All right. Over Matt. Your thoughts, sir, on that section of the film up to when he's asking them to send him back in time?
Which Matt?
Over Matt.
The one with the bigger dick.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah.
Not me.
Well, you know, I'm going to say this to my podcasting partner, Tim. Yeah, you're an idiot, buddy.
Oh!
All right. So you remember the phone ringing on the dock?
Yes.
Okay. This is where you have to understand a little bit about time travel tropes. And
Rick.
Oh, you motherfucker.
Sorry. But that phone ringing was an after effect of them trying to get a hold of Doug and with whatever satellites. So we kind of get the idea that his body was sitting there on the dock. So I'm in that mindset that as soon as they fired up Snow White for the investigation, they immediately went into another timeline. So then what happens then is everything that Denzel was experiencing was from the first time that they did a time loop. And so it just continues on. And again, like you had said, it is a bit like Looper, where he's constantly going through this cycle until he can get to the point where she's alive. Thereby, that prevents them from turning on the rig and preventing the whole time travel scenario from happening. Drink.
So ultimately, he's just trying to smash. Like, the whole point of the movie is him smashing.
So what you're saying is that that's his partner's phone that's ringing. That right?
No, it's his phone ringing.
Denzel's,
but from a different timeline.
Drake.
Now,
right. It's the dead Denzel's. He's on the dock while he's still there.
Right. Exactly.
Drink. Okay. But I said that early on. I thought that's what that was.
And then
so I prove where I'm an idiot, sir. Prove it.
No, I mean that's because because they're doing it over and over again through multiple timelines. That's why that explains you have to try to understand the classic tropes of movies that deal with time and relative dimensions in space.
Good point.
Now, the one last thing I want to add is I thought how disheartening was it for Denzel to realize that he was the reason why his partner was dead.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, that's harsh.
And he even tears up and everything at that point too.
Well, not only that, but he gets to watch the guy get eaten by a gator. Not only did you kill him, but you got to watch him get devoured by an alligator.
True.
I'm fighting an alligator after the kangaroo.
We're going to put a kangaroo and an alligator in the room.
Yeah.
Who would win? Matt, go. Down under Matt. Who would win?
Well,
kangaroo, alligator.
Okay, so we don't have alligators. We've got crocodiles. And I think a crocodile would definitely beat a kangaroo.
Yeah.
Hands down. It's a bit like me and Jeff.
Agree.
I'm the crocodile, Jeff's the kangaroo.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Matthew, you're smashing me, bro. This is like She-Hulk level domination.
I'm not a lawyer.
There you go, folks. All right. Thank you, over Matt. All right. Down under, Matt. Your thoughts, sir, on that section of the film.
Down under.
I'm gonna put down the time travel stuff. Pardon the drink, but I'm gonna put that down because by this time of the film, I'm sort of in, and I'm willing to let some stuff slip and slide. Right? It is like I'm in a massage.
Slip and slide, huh?
Right now, For me, this is my favorite part of the movie when they go mobile and they're chasing Carol Orsted, and after they've sent the note through, he realizes that, oh my God, I'm the one that's got him killed, and then they're chasing him, and they go to the lair of the baddie, and this part I think is awesome when he then realizes that, you know, he burns him alive, he feeds him to the alligator. I think this is all really cool. I think I really enjoyed the car chase. Well, it's not really a car chase because he's not chasing anything except the past. But I thought that was really good. And then the one eye with the goggle over one eye and him being able to see. I still don't understand how he was able to drive in that state. He was like, I'm tripping. Mate, he should have. If 150 people didn't die in that chase scene, it would be a miracle, because he was driving down the wrong side of the street and dodging traffic like he's Lewis Hamilton. It was incredible. But this, as I said, it's my favorite part of the movie. I think it really starts to open up, and although it's defying every single possible rule, I think that it's the little things that I like start to fall into place. You know why you know why his partner Minuti's not answering his phone calls. You find out why she got the fingers chopped off. You find out, all these little things start to fall into place. I think that's really, really cool. And it's all the work that they've done, like in that first third of the movie, with all these little, little Easter eggs about you can save her on the fridge, all this kind of stuff, that it all starts to get into that point now. And it's in the next part. But, when it all starts to play out, and I think I really enjoy just the little solves along the way in this part of the film, and you get to really see how absolutely fucking cold-blooded Jim Caviezel is. I mean,
excellent. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I agree. This whole section of the film, you really get to see more about, who Jim Caviezel's character is. And you get to see kind of the, what kind of state you're dealing with here with this guy. And really kind of enlightens you and kind of, puts that light bulb on your head and like, wow, this guy really is an evil guy. So that was kind of nice that they, did that and made it give you a better explanation of who Jim Caviezel's character was, or Carol Orsted as he's called. All right. Great job, guys. Great job. All right. So we basically left off where they're closing the investigation, and Denzel Drake, Mr. Doug Carlin, isn't happy with this. And so he basically tries to get Eldon Ratliff to send him back in time with the machine. And they're very, 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 worried about this because they've never done that. They haven't sent anything living back. And, your heart could stop and all this kind of stuff. He's like, write a note on me to say, resuscitate me. And so, basically he gets them to do it. And so he gets put in the machine and gets sent back. And when he gets sent back, he ends up, we see him and he's convulsing and he's like, needs to be resuscitated basically. And he's got the note on him. And so that when they see him, they do that. And, basically after he kind of comes to, he's in the hospital and he gets himself up and frees himself and starts making his way to where he needs to go to stop Carol Orsted. And so, as he does that, he basically ends up stealing an ambulance and making his way to the hideout to stop Claire's murder. And so he gets there and basically, Orsted shoots him, flees with the bomb. Then Doug ends up driving Claire to her apartment and treats the wound. And we kind of have that kind of moment there where, things start to unravel and Doug starts to realize, oh, I'm the one that put that on the the refrigerator to say you can save her. I have seen this one before and all this kind of stuff, you know, and things start having that very deja vu effect. And so after, you know, he's taken care of and his wounds, you know, treated and stuff like that, you know, Claire, you know, is suspicious of him and holds him at gunpoint. And that's when that call comes into into effect that we saw at the beginning of the film, saying that she had called to talk to him that morning. And that was basically, once again, showing that this already happened in the past and that this was another timeline, as we've talked about. And she basically finds out by doing that is the truth. And he basically convinces her, and they end up leaving together to go to the ferry dock. Well, when they get there, basically, Doug boards the ferry to basically stop, Caviezel from doing what he was doing. And he has Claire's truck. That's what he has the bomb in, which we had determined that at the beginning of the film. And while they're there, basically, you know, Doug tries everything he can to stop Orsted. They get into a gunfight. You know, he distracts Jim Caviezel's character Orsted, and you know, basically they end up, you know, kind of dueling, and he ends up shooting and killing Jim Caviezel. As he finds out, he can see that the bomb has already been, basically put to start. And it's going to go off, and so he's basically got to figure out a way of getting it off the ferry before it destroys the ferry and kills all those innocent people. And so he basically tells Claire, that he's got to do this and that don't worry and get to safety. And so he ends up getting in the truck, driving it, ramming through other cars to basically get it to go out into the sea as the ferry's moving and explode in the water instead of on the ferry. And as that explodes and Doug is in that car, that timeline Doug ends up perishing in that car. Claire's character, she's being assisted by the police there while they're trying to figure out what's going on, and all of a sudden she's sitting there kind of waiting, and all of a sudden Doug comes walking up from another direction and goes, in the current present timeline, and the movie ends. All right. So, what are your guys' thoughts on the ending of this film, of this action sci-fi film? And go ahead and talk about whatever you like about the end portion, what you thought of it, what you liked about it, your little quirks, whatever. And, give your thoughts on, do you think that this film concluded well? Do you think it was a crappy ending? All that kind of good stuff. Let's start with you, Down Under Matt. You're muted, sir.
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, rookie error. You should be wondering
anyway.
Professional podcasting at its best.
You just allowed Jeff to gain points on you, Matt. Yeah. So
he's only behind by about 900 now.
I was the massage parlor at that time.
Look, I think after all the momentum that it builds, I think the movie ends really quickly. I think the finale is actually rushed a little. Like how he gets on that ferry with 30 machine guns under his jacket. I've got more questions about this part of the movie than the whole time travel thing about it. And I'll start with how he gets back on the ferry with 30 machine guns. He's got a dead set arsenal. He's like the Terminator. And he's got so many guns and he's just firing them everywhere.
He's thick. He's thick, baby. He's thick.
Mate, there are so many cops on that boat. How can not one of them shoot him?
Because he's the Punisher.
Yeah.
He's got the body armor. They do shoot him. He's got the body armor.
Yeah, good point. Aim for the head. Doug Carlin knows straight away. Go for the head. One bullet straight in the head.
2 in the chest, 1 in the head.
But then, obviously, the other thing is that, so he's killed Jim, a team effort. Claire slams him in and then Doug shoots him. And then Doug gets in the car and we're going to have to drive this thing off the boat. But there's however many kilos of fucking explosives in that car and it gets shot by about 50 bullets and nothing happens. Like, surely that would... I'm not looking... I'm only a layman when it comes to bomb building and bomb detonation. And so, I live in Australia. We're very conservative about the uses of bombs. Now, I'm assuming that if you shoot a car that's got tons and tons of explosives in it, there's a good chance it might go off, that something might rupture and it goes off, but it doesn't. Okay, I'll ride that one. They drive into the ocean. Denzel, of course, he's done what a good father would do and save the person, kicks the windscreen out. She gets out. How come he can't get out?
It gets underneath the boat and it gets it does a little turn and it crushes the car roof in. I went back and watched that because
all right. I'm thank you for pointing that out. I'm willing to let that one slide. The next thing, there are two massive fucking propellers, like Titanic-sized propellers under this boat, and she just swims around it. I'm like, sorry, you are chopped. She's going to be chewed by that propeller. Then she gets out. And so for a movie that I really enjoy and I love, I just think these are where my questions lie. That the ending is that, and not only that, like, how does the car get far enough away from the ferry in the time frame that it's got so that it can explode easily? Like, there's
the power of the pussy, baby.
Well, yeah, and look, I know I'm sounding super nitpicky, and I probably am because I actually really like this movie. But as I found myself last night when she swam next to the propeller and just swam around the propeller. I'm sorry, like, no one could do that. You're going into that propeller, especially considering
it doesn't matter, Matthew. As long as you're down under and she swims through your propeller, you're okay, USA, sir.
I got no dramas with that. She can swim to my propeller whenever she wants.
Matt, the only thing I can think of that would make logical sense is that if that propeller was running at like no wake speed and it was just going so slow. But even then, that's the only logical thing I could think of is it was running too slow for her to get.
What about the Denzel magic? What about the Denzel magic? Right, that just comes off of him.
But then, so then let's just say that he's the Terminator with body armor. The car's bulletproof, and the bombs can't pierce the car to set the bomb off. Claire gets easily saved, and Denzel gets squashed in the car, and of course we get to see a close up before he blows up, which I think is exceptional. Then we walk down, and it's love at first sight for both of them, and it's a happy ever after. And it's a great movie. There you go. And they're the only questions that I have. I have no questions about. I'm not going to pick it apart for time travel. They're the only questions I have.
Greg, I would ask nothing about this movie.
I just want to know, do you guys have any? Do you have any better medications for chlamydia that we do over here in the States? Because this case I've got right now, I'm trying to get rid of this shit.
Just buy a loaf of bread and let it mold. You'll be good to go.
Diesel fuel, mate.
A silver platter and a hammer. That's all I got to say.
I think Minuti had chlamydia as well, and they sold.
No, I actually got chlamydia one time in real life. I did, like, take it away from all the shit. Like, I got chlamydia one time, and like, no, you gotta take pills and shit and whatnot. You do. Take away all the bullshit, folks. No true knowledge. Like, yeah, I got chlamydia one time because I banged somebody hoes and shit. You know what I'm saying? And like, I took pills to get rid of it.
Oh God!
On some deja vu shit. What's up? Let's do it.
That's how you be real on the MCU's Bleeding Edge, folks out there. Thank you for that.
We gotta be real, baby. We got chlamydia.
Thank you, down under Matt. All
right.
Knowledge is power. Okay.
Knowledge is power. Yep.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Power D
on the conclusion of the film.
All right. So, after you said that, I'm so I've lost my whole train of thought now.
Jeff, that's true knowledge will do that to you. What's up?
Yeah. When you lay down some true knowledge, you just lose your whole argument. At face value, I love the movie. And if you don't think too deep about it, it's fine. But there are so many questions. I mean, first of all. Why did they write the love story in this like George Lucas wrote it? I mean, it's clumsy. it's incredibly bad. It's just like one moment she's holding the gun on. I'm like, I don't know who you are. You're not asking enough questions, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, listen to the phone call. She calls and she's like, now I love you. I'll let you kiss me. It was way too clumsy. And, it was just really bad,
Oh,
and I love
kiss,
George Lucas. Yeah.
The kiss is incredibly awkward.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so awkward, the kiss. I forgot about that. Fucker, Doc.
I know. It's like the fucking most awkward freaking, scumbag dude ever. Was planting that kiss.
And not only that, shouldn't he stick to her mouth because she's got all the residue from the gaff tape?
Yeah, that'd been awesome.
I know. You're Mr. Down Under. I think you would go right below the belt first,
straight away
before you go to kiss. Right?
We go down under before we go over and above.
You like that middle-aged guys? That's how they do over in Australia.
Yeah.
They go right to Down Under before they kiss.
Nice.
All right. Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead, Tim.
That's okay. But it's very clumsy, very bad. And it's just like, where do you go from that? Like, I think Jeff just summed it up perfectly. But yeah, I mean, it's just clumsy and it's crazy. And I mean, short of him, she's like, how you know what you know about me? He's like, well, I've been watching you in your bra for like 2 days now.
I've been watching it for 4 days, bitch.
Yeah. I don't know a lot about you, but I know how good
4.5 days.
Yeah.
4.5 days, Tim.
Let me tell you those things you were putting on. And the other thing that gets me too is like how
I don't like that outfit. Give me another one.
He's watching her. She's practicing for that date. And she's kissing her arm and stuff. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I've looked at you. You're pretty cute. I'm pretty sure you don't have to practice for a date. I'm pretty sure you've had a lot of them. So, I found that odd too. So, but anyway, I digress. But yeah, it gets to the end and it gets a little unbelievable in that. And again, I start to, think too deeply on the whole. If I go back in time and I exist and myself still exists in that timeline, does one of us have to die? That's where the time is obstinate thing comes in. And I think it has to. I think one of them has to die, which is why Denzel initially ends up dying, drowning in the thing and then blowing up. I agree with you Down Under, Matt, though. There's no way you're swimming past those propellers and you're not going to get sliced and diced. Like, you are going to totally get slap chopped by that propeller and you're coming up, as kitty kibble somewhere along the way. So that seems very, if we learned anything from Titanic, that's not possible. So
yes.
It seemed very screwballish to me, but at least I was able to, confirm why he wasn't able to get out of the truck after he kicks the window out. So I felt better about that. I felt like, the end scene where he kills, Carol, Carol's character was good. It was well played out. They drive the truck off and everything. I'm all good with that. And then the very end, I like it where I enjoy subtle things, much like the "I held her hand once" comment, which pays off, a little later in the film. I like that instead of them always having that comment where they name the movie in the movie, they somehow figure out how to put it in there. He does the deja vu thing with the music. Or with the question that she asks, and he pauses for a second, and he's having a deja vu moment. Let's try that instead of a movement. He did not soil himself.
No one shits in this movie.
Yeah, he did. There was no defecation in the pants there. But yeah, he's having a deja vu moment. Shit, you guys are maybe drinking way too much. So you get that without him actually saying, "Oh, I had some deja vu right there." That's what he is experiencing at that moment, just before he craps himself. So there you go. But I enjoy the movie at a very superficial level, and if you don't think too deep about some of the ending, and I think it was rushed because they filmed that during that Katrina happened while they were filming that. So they had to stop filming. I think they came back. I think they had to make some very big cuts to make the movie come in on time and on budget. And I think they did a great job considering that. I'd love to have seen what it would have been like had they not had to deal with Katrina during the filming of this. Maybe it would have been a little bit different. But if you don't think too deep, it's a great movie at the end. And it's worth watching.
I got a massage from a chick named Katrina one time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And the wives?
It was OK USA.
And did you? And is that what ultimately led to you needing some penicillin?
No, the name of the brand I could not pronounce to you. To be completely honest with you,
Okay.
English is difficult for me. I'm actually partially Hispanic and Wakandan, so I'm just saying. It was tough to pronounce the name of the medication they had to give me. Anyways, OK USA, sir. I'll pass it on to you, Cyber.
Wow.
I think we still got middle-aged Matt too.
You and Down Under were very close there for a second, but then your speech into chlamydia.
I'm saving my energy. I'm saving my energy right now for my final assault to take out Mr. Down Under Underpants USA.
I don't know, sir. You're having a hard time there. It sounds like, but we'll see. We'll see. Thank you, Tim. Very well done.
Thank you.
Over Matt, your thoughts, sir.
I have to say I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a fun movie to watch. It was cool how you got to see all the little clues light up to the end of the movie. You got like all these little answers and little notes brought in that just kind of like tied everything together. I do feel, yes, it seemed like the ending was a bit clunky as far as, her swimming away from the propellers, the whole, kissing before he dies kind of thing. It seemed a little rushed, but for the most part, without picking apart any of the time sequences, I think it was a fun movie to watch. And I would definitely give it like 5 stars or, whatever rating system that you guys want to go with. It's definitely up there.
Well, we're not down with 5 stars, so
I give it 5 defecations.
5 fingers.
5 Snow Whites, motherfucker.
5 finger discount. Thank you, Overmatch.
5 finger death punch, Cyber, you motherfucker.
No. Yeah, we do over 10 here, so I mean, you could say.
I forgot. I apologize. 10 hands or nothing. I forgot.
There you go, sir. Anyways, Jeff, here's your chance to redeem yourself. Your thoughts on the conclusion of the film, sir.
Well, it's actually 4 hands or nothing, to make it clear. Right? That is the statement of the MCU'S Bleeding Edge. 4 hands or nothing, baby. That's what's up. And if you have been to the massage parlor, know what that means. So just to be clear, that's the level, where I'm at with this part of the film. It's the same. It's a duality thing, right? To try to be more middle-aged, we review podcasts, speak. It's a duality, a real deep, cathartic kind of, connective kind of thing with my soul and shit. Right, Matt?
You're digging down to the core, the heart of this movie is what you're saying. You're digging through the poo of the movie to get to the soul of the movie.
I'm just trying to find my lightsaber, baby. That's all. It's out there somewhere. I'm trying to find it.
It's important that you keep it lit at all times.
There you go. I hope it's purple. But there you go.
I know that means something bad's happened.
I mean, honestly,
I am so lost right now.
So as far as the final segment of the film goes, everything is just too convenient, right? Like, this is not that good of a movie. I'm sorry, but like, I'm not going to rate this movie very highly at all. I'm not going to. It's not that good of a movie. It declines from beginning to end. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's similar to like my sexual experiences with women, right? Like, very similar, same pattern. It's not good. You can't have that. They've told me. So I'm just saying, like at the end of the day, I like Jude Caviezel with the machine guns and shit and whatnot, everything. That's just dope. That's like some commando shit. I'm down with that. Let's get it. Right? I'm feeling that. That's all cool. I'm like liking that, people dying and shit, shooting me the shit. But then on top of that, like all of a sudden they make things so complicated at the end where like Paula Patton, yes, I'm making myself drink. Paula Patton with the big titties had to like actually become like 50-50 with Big D to like team up to like vanquish the fucking villain and shit and win and all this shit. Just too complicated, bro. You know what I'm saying?
You can't think about this much time travel when you've been.
I'm trying to chill ass, bro. I'm hanging out with mates like fucking Mr. Dial Under and shit like that and whatnot. Is like my best friend. Come on, bro. What's up?
If Jeff starts crying from all the drinking, I think I'm gonna step away. I love you, man.
Oh my god.
This guy right here.
Oh shit. I'm sorry. I apologize, Denzel. I'm sorry. Great. Yeah, I apologize to Denzel, baby.
And another one.
Is that Denzel Washington you're referring to, or is it Paula Patton, or did you say time travel? I couldn't quite catch that.
Or Val Kilmer.
Oh yes.
I think the problem, Matt, is that you're talking a lot, but you're not drinking a lot.
The main customer of the Deja Vu massage parlor. I've heard. But essentially, my thoughts are just that it would have been better if they hadn't brought back Doug again at the end there, right? Like tucked him in there, like all of a sudden, bam. Nah, I don't like that concept at all. I don't like that. I didn't like that at all. Like, that chick was already freaked the fuck out earlier from Doug. And, like, you know, just got almost fucking, like, burned alive and shit and whatnot. And was hanging out with Doug and wanted to shoot him and shit. Right? Now she's in love with him and all this shit. And it's like fucking, like, Shakespeare. Right? Romeo and Juliet and all this bullshit. Right? So, you know, now she's repeating the same words that, like, he said earlier and all this shit to, like, the new Doug and all this shit. Nah, they went too far. I'm sorry, Tony. Rest in peace. But you went too far, bro. You should have stopped.
Love knows no time.
You should have stopped. You know what I'm saying? So that's it, Cyber. Okay, USA, and let's do it.
You're on mute again.
Oh, where are your subtitles? We can't hear you.
Let's get it, motherfucker.
Oh, that's right. Excellent job, guys. Very well done. Except for you, Jeff. You fucked yourself in the ass here.
No!
I'm sorry. You fucked yourself in the ass.
How's that
I'm
fair?
sorry.
Wait a
That
minute.
is 100% fair.
Middle-aged men.
100%
Wait a
fair.
minute. Did I not do well on that one? That was good.
No.
It was a train of
you
thought,
screwed
but
the
it was
pooch.
but it was a little bit of diarrhea of the mouth of train of thought, I think.
Well, hey, you know, being true knowledge is not everything that it leads up to be.
Oh, is that it now? Okay.
Yeah, you gotta dig deep to get the meaning, is what you're saying?
I'm a busy guy. You know, I'm a little tired.
I've come up with a new title for you. So Mr. Down Under is the champion of the points game tonight, but Jeff is the champion of chlamydia tonight.
I want to be Mr. Down Under. I'm telling you right now, my pussy game is fucking tizite, nigga. You feel me? Like, I ain't playing. I eat that pussy like a fucking champion.
Damn, middle-aged man, we gotta up our
You feel
game.
me?
This is 2 times in a row we've been smoked.
I'm talking like
winning the
yeah.
award here.
I eat pussy like a fucking champion, bro.
That's okay. The middle-aged guys, they get a new award, which is going to be called the Putting Up with Jeff Award, because they did such a great job dealing with Jeff tonight.
What? I'm just kidding.
The Ultimate Patience Award.
I want to thank the Academy. You love me. You truly love me.
I love all you guys on the panel and everything and whatnot and all that. I love you, Matthew. You're my mate. I love you, Cyber.
We know you love us, Jeff.
He hates you, middle-aged Matt, though, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
Matt,
we get no love.
Matt,
you old fuckers, screw you.
Nah, Matt, you and Tim are good people, bro.
We love you too, Jeff.
Thank you, bro.
And then we got Timecop over here saying he's drinking in his timeline, which I doubt it. I doubt it. I bet he's drinking like apple juice or you know, Ovaltine, or you know.
I'm actually drinking. What the fuck is he drinking?
He's rocking the Yoo-hoo.
Yeah.
What is he drinking? Fucking She-Hulk's fucking cough syrup?
Probably, because he thinks he wins an award, and no, he wasn't even here. You don't get to participate.
I just want you to know I brought my A game. I'm drinking 94 proof rum, so I bring my A game. I play serious here.
Good job, Tim. Good job.
Hey, y'all have held your business every show you come on, right? I'm talking deja vu shit here. Let's do it. Okay, USA.
Wait till there's USA. 2 of me on the same timeline. You're gonna be fucked.
Yep. Well, my final thoughts on the film is I understood this film from beginning to end. You know, even though it had some silly quirks at the end of the film, you know, like the blade and everything, I still think it worked to its advantage. I think that what ended up happening, in my opinion, is when they wrote the script, like what everyone kept saying about the Katrina thing, I think that they originally had intended for this to be not as long of a movie. And I think what happened was when they actually got to the end, I think that after, having to stop, production when Katrina hit and then go back to finish it up, so that they could get it out by November of 2006, I think they had to do some adjustments. And that's why it ended up kind of feeling a little sloppy at the ending. Because I think, that really played into the whole Katrina thing. But for whatever happened there, I still think that they did a really solid job and gave us a really fun film that overall I thought was just really enjoyable from beginning to end. And, I think that those little quirks make this movie very enjoyable. And, the whole concept of kind of like it being that looper effect, which we've talked about, a few of you mentioned earlier, I think that actually makes it more interesting for me, in my opinion. And I think that made the film even more enjoyable and why it kept me interested the whole entire time. So I think overall it was a really fun film. So let's go around and give ratings. So it's 1 out of 10. We all know Jeff's going to give us a 2 or something. So we'll go with you first, Jeff. What is your rating, sir?
I'll give the movie a 6.75. It's very watchable, very entertaining. It's legit fucking Denzel at his best, handling his business, like, taming hose, putting it down. And that's all I got to say, baby. Let's do it. Let's go. Board to watch. What's up? What you got?
I love Cyber. You've been sacked as the moderator now.
Apparently.
And, Jeff S. Drunk Knowledge has taken over, and
hey, I'm just playing around with my mate over here, bruh.
Should I go? Are you happy for me to go? Is that okay?
You can, yes. You can go
all
again
right.
on the
All right, sure thing.
No, you must stay, sir.
Okay, I really enjoy this movie. As I said, I've had a long relationship with it since probably about 2008. Even though watching it this time, I got a little nitpicky towards the end, I still think it's a lot of fun. I think it's popcorn cinema, like ultimate popcorn cinema. If you just switch the brain off and watch, you're going to have a lot of fun watching this movie. It gets 8.5 gratuitous bra shots for me. And yeah, it could be a little bit higher, except this time I think the propeller thing annoys me.
Excellent. Still very, very high, I think. All right. Over Matt, what would you give it, sir?
I'm going to say it's 8.75 propellers. Definitely a fun movie. I would, definitely 8.75 propellers. So not quite that last propeller. It's just it's got a chunk missing out of it from like a shark that came up the Atlantic.
Excellent. Thank you. Tim, your rating, sir.
I want to give it 3 different ratings. So
okay.
I think if we're gonna go from Jeff's situation, I think he gets a double D rating for all the bra shots. I think that's how he would rate that. I think he's it's definitely there. I think if you're going to rate it from a time movie, then I think he gets probably a 7.5 to an 8. Because even though there's some flaws in it, it's pretty good. It's hard to write a really good one. And I think if you're going to go at it from just from Matt Down Under, I think if you're going to go at it from just a fun, enjoy it at its face value kind of movie, I think it's a 9, maybe even a 9.5. It's worth watching. It's very enjoyable. It's worth watching again. So there you go.
Excellent. Awesome. And I give it a solid 10. This is like one of my all-time favorite movies. It's probably one of my favorite Washington films. I think that, Denzel is an awesome actor. I mean, he has made so many great films. Definitely my all-time favorite of his is, of course, Glory. I think that's one of his best portrayals he's ever played over the years. And but I think that, I just like the whole concept because this came out shortly after he did that Out of Time film. in 2003, which I really enjoyed that one too. I thought that was a really solid thriller where he plays kind of like a cop character again. And I thought that character was very similar to his Doug Carlin in this film. And I just, there's something about this movie that just always really resonated with me. So I have to give it a good solid 10 for me. All right. So that is it for that review, folks, out there in the great lands. I'm going to give it to Mr. Jeff S. Drunk Knowledge. Take us out.
Let's do it, baby. Let's get it. All right. So, who should we start with? Mr. Down Under. I'm telling you.
Well, the champ. Sorry, it's the champ.
How you gonna steal that title from me, Cyber? If you're gonna don that on somebody, why couldn't it be me, sir?
I give you the Danny Award, sir. You just were the Danny participant.
I've been eating pussy like a champion since
Rudy.
Before,
Give him the Rudy Award.
Since back before it was even popular.
Well, then, sir, then you can bestow upon yourself.
All right, I'm taking the Danny Award. I'm taking the Danny Award right now. I'm taking the Danny. Okay, just
give
make
yourself
it clear.
the Monica Rambeau Award.
Tim and Matt, I'm taking the Danny tonight. You feel me?
Oh, okay, sure.
I hear you. You can take the Danny Award.
I'm all Danny tonight. Get that,
We're
bro.
all about you talking to the little boy in your mouth.
I forgot. I'm sorry, Simon. What was the question? What was my review of my last massage parlor visit? I apologize.
No. I said if you want to give yourself an award, you can give yourself the Pussy Champ Award.
I was going to say, my last massage parlor visit was, near Deja Vu-esque. But I guess we'll start with this asshole, Mr. Down Under. What a cool wrestling name.
Yeah, well, it looks. I've just got a new nickname, it would seem.
So we're just happy that nothing's bit you or along the way to prevent you from being here, because there's so many deadly snakes and spiders where you're at. It's amazing you live long enough to do this.
And when you're Mr. Down Under, you can be kind of prickly, you'd think.
Yeah, look, it's a dangerous place, Australia. It's probably better that not many of you Americans decide to visit. I don't think you'll be able to handle it. Jeff's talking up trying to wrestle a kangaroo, but
I'm coming just to fight kangaroos and fucking go to massage parlors.
Yeah, not in that order, I'm sure. And look, we're actually coming up on 100 episodes of our podcast in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be doing Aliens for our 100th episode, which we're pretty excited about. We've been a little bit slack on the YouTube side of it because I got a little stern talking to from YouTube about my content. So, but I've got about 6 or 8 episodes which I've got to upload of our podcast. We're now using StreamYard like you boys, so. We haven't got to the point now of being comfortable enough to go live, but we're having a lot of fun, and with 100 coming up, we're pretty excited about that. So stay tuned.
Now, are you guys going to be watching the new 4K drop of the Aliens film?
I'm pretty. I'll tell you what. There's been a lot of stuff coming out about Alien Romulus. A lot of sort of, I guess, spoilers about what it's about. That looks pretty good. Definitely going to be watching. I've got my copy of Aliens in 4K ready to go. It's going to be great.
Yeah, that just dropped. I got the Abyss and True Lies coming, so I can't wait to watch those in 4K finally.
Yeah, it's been a long time. They should have been out well before that.
I know.
Yeah. Matt, Tim, what's up? What's going on with what do y'all do these days over the show?
All right, so you can hear our show, the Middle Age Movie Reviews podcast, on any of your favorite streaming podcast services, except for Google Podcasts. That's going away. But you can subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podchaser. You name it, we're there. We're on YouTube as well, as Jeff has brought up. Our last episode was Scream Lola Scream, where we talked about the classic movie Run Lola Run with a good friend of ours from the Grawlix podcast, Randall Sylvie. We're also members of the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. So we're a network of podcasts that are just out there to entertain and have fun. Our next episode will actually drop tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Central Time. So for those down under, I think that's like what Sunday at like 2 a.m. I'm bad with the whole time travel thing. But yeah, the next episode is actually going to be about Memento, the classic Christopher Nolan film. And that has an interesting title because our third partner tends to go on rampages, and he went on an awesome rampage about Michael Bublé. And I have to say, Jeff, if you're big on some of Michael Bublé's shenanigans, you might want to take a listen. It's fun.
I would have done Memento if y'all would have reached out to me. I would have reviewed Memento with you.
We'd love to have each and every one of you on our podcast. But Jeff, yeah, I think you enjoy our third partner. I would love to see that. That's a death match that I would love to see because, like, it's going to be who could take the podcast to the lowest common denominator. I think, and it's going to be extremely entertaining. Cyber, I think you should come as well because I think you're just going to be entertained by the shenanigans at hand. So,
thank you, sir. I appreciate all the compliments.
And Matt Down Under, I know we just met you, but again, we would love to have you on anytime too, should you choose to want to, entertain our shenanigans.
Absolutely. Sounds great.
And hey, as long as you take care of his massage parlor fees and all that shit, whatnot, you're good, bruh.
I'll even buy you a 12-pack of whatever to have to protect yourself.
Fosters, bruh. Fosters.
Dental dams.
Fosters.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, folks, if you want me as a moderator or as a person on the panel, which I was not, you can check out my solo content. You can find me under Cyberneticshark. You can pretty much find me on everywhere: YouTube, TikTok, X, Facebook, Instagram, pretty much anywhere. My main spot is on YouTube. You can check out my most recent review there, Madam Web. Most recent short, of course, was the Little Rascals from 1994. Check that out. I will have more stuff up. I have a review of that soon, but I will be having a awesome trailer reaction to the Crow remake. I watched that trailer finally because it dropped, and that one's gonna be interesting to talk about. But yeah, I'll be having more content coming up soon, guys. Just keep your eyes out. If you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, of course. And every subscriber, I appreciate you guys. You guys are rocking it. Help me and Mr. Andreas get to that magic 1,000 mark. And, we appreciate everyone that subscribes and watches.
There you go, folks. And for my plug for the week, I've got Southwest Health Beauty Spa Massage Parlor. All right. Massage, skincare, reflexology, or some shit, whatever. Who gives a fuck? Over here in my area, I've been there, and the happy endings are okay, USA. You feel me? Let's do it, baby.
Wow.
Kumite style. Frank Dukes. Let's do it.
They love you long time.
Right, Matthew? Let's get it. Let's get it, baby.
Yes, they love him long time.
Or
they just Judy chop him. Judy chop.
Long time plus the bonus shit that comes after that.
Yeah, they love you long time or short time, Jeff. Whatever it takes.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Just make sure they bring your goggles because otherwise you're screwed.
You gotta make sure your lightsaber is working effectively that day.
Don't let it be purple. Purple's bad.
Happy endings don't work that well.
Purple's mad. Oh my God.
These middle-aged men motherfuckers, I'm telling you. I've got something else to say, but I'll save it for another show. Anyways, folks, we're out of here. This is it for Deja Vu, our review. We love all of you. God bless you. You're wonderful people. I'm going to give a Danny Award out to all of you right there for being in the audience. You all deserve a Danny Award. Do you understand? That's how we get down over the bleeding edge. All Danny for everybody. Just for hanging out with us, motherfuckers. We appreciate all of you. Cyber, great job moderating tonight, sir. Middle-aged man podcast, YouTube channel. Way to fucking get after it. Matthew from Board to Watch. What's up, baby? What's up with you taking my fucking best name, the shit, whatnot that I wish I could have had?
I did not understand anything you said then, Jeff.
Mr. Down Under. Why you take my shit?
Half the time you can't understand anything he says anyway. So
that was the first time I've legitimately thought this guy's talking gibberish.
Join Jeff at the Incoherent Podcast at
OK USA. OK USA, baby.
Where can your listeners send hate mail? Just curious.
He's got the slurs that'll cure you.
Unbelievable slurs. Love it.
Hey, Jeff, tell him what you.
This is all you got left to work with. All right. This is hard. This is an erect penis, and this is what happens if the shield gets done down with you.
Oh my god! What? Why is the comments so quiet? I need help here. Like Rayman should be here. This is fucking ridiculous. You're freaking man. We're talking about grief and loss. You're stupid.
Andreas, look! I found White Vision's penis, bro. Here it is. The whole time it's been right here. I had it right here on my laptop.
Oh my god!
It's White Vision's penis, bro. Folks, I found it.
I cannot.
The search is over.
I cannot move on. Let's move on. This is going too far. I mean, too far from already many far from Jeff TrueKnowledge himself. He should be called 10. What? I think I'll give it a 5 if we want to be this disturbing. And
White Vision's penis found.
Hey, yo, Jay, can we get some ratchet one time? Look, I don't want to talk. How you try and press the kid and read it, you was soft.